This is The Sports Source, presented by Bill Hotz and Associates, and by Renewal by Andersen, with your host, John Pennington.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome into The Sports Source, presented by Hotz and Associates. We have a big show for you today. Vols get a tremendous win on the road in the league last night at Florida. We will talk about that first, but then we're going to do a lot of coverage as well of Tennessee's offensive coordinator search finally comes to a close and proves that all that hand-wringing was for nothing. Heck of a hire in Jim Chaney. There's actually good news to discuss today for Tennessee athletics. This year has been pretty good so far. Knock on wood. Let's get into it. First segment of our program brought to you by our friends at Hotz and Associates. Slightly different name, same long, proven track record of helping East Tennesseans get the law on their side. If you ever find yourself injured in an accident by a careless driver, make your first call, make your first click to Hotz and Associates. All right. Want to welcome in the first wave of panelists here. We have former Vol basketball assistant Mark Pankratz, worked under Bruce Pearl, worked under Conzo Martin. Thanks for being here. And then down here we have our Hall of Fame sports writing legend, Mike Strange. Your intro gets better every week. And down there from WNML we have Jimmy Himes. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. With 6:12 to play in last night's game, Tennessee trails 63-60. And I was thinking we'll do the show and explain, look, this is why we've been saying you go on the road, they're tough, don't freak out over this. And then Tennessee goes on an 18-4 run to finish the thing. They win it by 11. This team's now 14-1. They've won 5 true road games. They're 14-1. They the amazing thing is, of those 15 games they've played, only twice Gonzaga and Kansas has someone come within 11 points of them. It's a pretty good basketball team. Your thoughts on just a tremendous victory last night? That's the kind of game that you see good teams lose on the road in the SEC. This good team didn't lose it. Thoughts?
Oh, Joe, go ahead.
Well, there are a couple of things. One is that in the last 30 years, I'm not sure how many Tennessee teams would have pulled that out. A couple of them, 2 or 3. The other thing is that Jordan Bowden, who going into SEC play had not scored a field goal in the previous 2 games, he's been their best player, in my opinion, in these 3 SEC games. He's averaging 19 points. He scored 12 points in a row during one stretch in the second half against Florida. He made a lot of big plays. He's been outstanding. And I'm not sure Tennessee would have won that game last night against Florida if not for Jordan Bowden.
Watching the game last night, John, I'm like you. I was rehearsing what I was going to say on the show this morning about how, well, this, you knew they weren't going to go 18-0 and they're going to lose some more games. That's just the way it is in the SEC. And they are. They're not going to go 18-0. I'll still say that. But that was just an amazing finish. And if you can finish like that, like this team's done that a couple of times. Yeah. Gonzaga and last night, that is so tough to do on the road. There were several points in that game where I thought, well, they didn't put their foot down on Florida's neck. They've let Florida off the hook, and they still won.
Mark, your thoughts?
Well, I think
you've coached at Florida. You know how tough it can be.
Yeah, tough environment. Lamonte Turner. Florida starts off. They dictate tempo because they play 4 guards. We've been really big. We've got Pons in there, starts the game. Kyle Alexander, Admiral Schofield, Grant Williams. Florida playing 4 guards, 1 big, dictates tempo. Lamonte Turner comes in and changes the game. Now you can play Admiral and Grant inside. Kyle didn't really play the last 6-7 minutes, was in foul trouble. Then we got things rolling. We had 3 legitimate guards out there that were now able to attack that pressure. Florida did a great job of spreading us out and driving our bigger offense or our bigger defense, and that led to early threes that they made in the first half that Tennessee wore down and they didn't make in the second half. But Lamonte Turner addition to this depth now makes us able to, if you're going to go big against us, great. Kyle Alexander has shown incredible signs the last couple games. We can go big. If not, we've got the ability to go small and beat you that way as well.
Let me go ahead and put up some numbers here. We'll do this each week. It's just the guys who get the double-digit minutes, so you can run through kind of the box score there as we talk here. We'll leave that up for a second. But you talk about the ways this Tennessee team can play, and I think that's what sets it apart from previous good to great Tennessee basketball teams that I can remember. I always harp on this, and I'm sure it annoys you, but you go back to that 31-5 team that you were a part of. Now, you've said on the record on this show that you think this team would beat that team. But here's the thing. That team had most teams have an Achilles heel. Slow it down on this one, and they're not as good because they're up tempo. Okay, get these guys going up tempo. They're not as good because they pounded inside. This team can win in a lot of different ways, and I thought it showed at Missouri as well. Schofield not at his best. Williams not at his best. We know what kind of a game Conzo Martin likes. You still win by 24 on the road? Are you kidding me? This team, there's got to be a day when you can't hit and you're not shooting. The other team shoots lights out. I know that. But in terms of a formula for beating this bunch, it seems like they've got an answer for everything you throw at them.
Well, and to another point, they don't beat themselves. You look at Florida; they're on a run, they're winning that game, and all of a sudden their big guy Hayes shoots a three from the top of the circle early on. Tennessee doesn't do that. They don't take bad shots. They don't have a bunch of bad turnovers, and so that's what separates this team is they can just keep pounding on you, whether that's up tempo pounding on you or getting the ball inside. And they understand they're smart basketball players. If Grant can get it in the post, they do. If not, Grant can't get it, where does he go? He goes to the high post and either scores getting to the rim or he drives in there and kicks it to Admiral for a wide open three-pointer in the corner to win the game.
And I thought Florida played really good defense for the most part last night. And Tennessee, when I looked at the box score, Tennessee still shot 53%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stunning. Jimmy, any more thoughts on this team and just the fact that it's as balanced as it is? It's like if you throw X, they got Y to answer. If you throw Y, they got X to answer.
That's the thing I like about them. They've got a variety of different players that on a given night can score 20 points against you. They also seem to make the plays when they need to, which they did last night to get the win. And I think I'm right about this. I think since expansion of the SEC back in '92, this is only the fourth SEC team, Tennessee team in men's basketball that started 3-0 in conference play.
Wow.
Hadn't been many of them.
That's
Well, in this day and age, you watch college basketball, even NBA basketball, it's all ball screen now. It's all ball screen. And Tennessee runs very minimal ball screens. And because if you can spread teams out and you got bodies moving that all can shoot the ball, you're a tough team to guard because where does the help go? If you can drop, and that's what makes up Tennessee so well.
One thing that kind of took off on social media, I didn't like it. I'm not saying throw the kid off the team. I'm a big fan of Grant Williams. I think Grant Williams is just a tremendous ambassador for UT. I've said it a million times. I wasn't big on the Gator Chomp thing simply for one reason. If Florida comes up here and does that to Tennessee, everybody's talking about how classless they are. When Tennessee does it, it's like, well, Florida deserves it. Look, if you don't like it when they do it to you, you can't support it when you do it to somebody else. It didn't seem like something Grant Williams in Tennessee would do. That said, we were talking before the show, and you've been down there, that's a pretty hostile environment in terms of, Tennessee fans have given it to people before, but Tennessee fans aren't right on you the way Florida's fans are in terms of the way that student section is set up.
I think that's the best, most effective harassing student section in the SEC.
Closest to Duke.
Yeah, and I mean, they are right on you. They're there before the game when you're warming up. So I don't have a big problem with it. To me, I've got a problem like you of the fans complaining about it being hypocritical.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a problem with the players doing it because they really have been getting it in their ear for 3 hours.
I still think it's kind of asking for it. I don't know what karma. What do you think? Think Rick Barnes cares? You think he likes the fire? You think he'll say, let's not do that? Where were you?
I'm sure Rick doesn't like anytime there's a tension brought to an individual. I don't think Rick likes that, but I also think he understands it because a chomp compared to what some of the things say, and all fan bases, and all, I'm not saying just Florida, all fan bases come to the things they say about your mom and your sister and your brother. Chomp's not a big deal.
Yeah. What about the Florida aide running off the court who kind of knocks? That, to me, that's what Tennessee fans are all mad about. That's what was classless.
He apologized to Grant and after the game and explained he didn't mean to.
That was
whatever.
Something out of nothing. That was social media trying to make something into nothing.
Whoa. Social media never tries to make something out of nothing. All right, very good. Guys, I appreciate it. Just a hell of a win last night. And you can keep saying that. Every week there's something about this team that wows you a little bit more.
I didn't say they'd go to the Final Four. Last night, I admit, I officially looked up where the Final Four was because I'm becoming a believer.
Minneapolis. Okay.
Yeah.
Of all places.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Later, we're going to have a lot more basketball talk. We're going to look ahead at the games this week. We're also going to take a look around the SEC. Is it as good as advertised? That's coming up a little bit later in the show. But next, Tennessee, talk about a hellacious win. You just got a heck of a football coach that you're bringing in as your offensive coordinator. We'll discuss all of the reasons, and there are many, that's a good hire on paper. May not work, but on paper, I don't think they could have done better. We'll talk Jim Chaney next.